Hi, everyone. My name is Ryan, and I'll be introducing our team's presentation on the grand challenges in AI design. So, just a brief overview of what AI and AI design is. So, artificial intelligence is a technology that enables computers and other devices to learn, create, and analyze all on their own with minimal to no human input at all. And AI design in particular is a design practice that will generally use machine learning and or other complex algorithms to create or generate graphics and other complex models. So our first grand challenge within AI is bias that's found within AI models. So the bias challenge sees when AI systems are learning to make decisions based on training data, they're using data sets. And if that data set is biased in any way, the AI is going to reflect those biases in its decision making. So, why is this a major problem? Well, right now, a lot of major corporations such as Google, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft are using AI models in their hiring and recruitment stages of and all their practices. And that's a problem because a lot of the historical data that's being fed to these AI models generally favors is shown a favor for white American males to be hired for roles. And so what's been happening in some instances is we're seeing minorities and women not being given the same opportunities sometimes for those positions. And it's also being used in a lot of districts for criminal in the criminal justice system to give prison sentencing recommendations. And the problem with this also stems from historical data that the AI models are fed, where we have seen historically in the United States, minorities get discriminated against within sentencing and given harsher sentencing than their white counterparts. And what we've actually seen as well are you have a white person and a black person with the same criminal background and the same offense, and the white person gets a lesser sentence than the black person. And this poses a major ethical problem and concern. So now I'm going to be passing it off to Noah to talk about the complexities and significance of AI bias.
Now, for the complexities with bias in AI, for the social side, there is strong discrimination and bias against minorities and women. And where this is coming from, well, 45% believe it's a bigger problem reflecting and reinforcing its own bias within the AI, and 40% believe that AI's biases are reflected by the developer's own. And this is further backed up by Stanford Social Innovation Review, which state that 22% of professionals in AI and data science field are women. And this is likely to be one of the causes for the social bias in AI. So for the economic complexities, bias is usually against lower socioeconomic groups with AI. And according to Time, the companies evaluated had lower rates of no more than 1% for lighter skinned men, but for darker skinned women, the errors in AI bias soared to 35%. So this difference is a big problem, and it is highly unethical. So the biases within AI become a huge problem when it is applicated into the real world. For example, when AI is used for resume reviews, which was done by Amazon's automated applicant evaluation, or when AI is used for insurance quotes, with United Healthcare as an example, any kind of slight bias has very long term and major spillover effects. So, for example, with the resume reviews, bias in gender resume reviews equals more men are falsely hired and women are discouraged. And this continues men to be in positions of power, which furthers bias against women. And this also further stereotypes, prejudice, and sets behind minorities and people of disadvantage for the future.
A factor that AI undergoes is misinformation. A challenge that AI does are what we call hallucinations, which convinces the people to believe that the texts they read are entirely real, but are really texts that are fake. The AI systems are also trained to use misinformation that are from the internet. For example, most AIs can't do math, but are instead just guesses. I personally try to use AI to do simple maths, and it cannot without any external plugin.
Political complexities include the fact that public opinion can be swayed with misinformation affecting democracy, as well as AI can be used maliciously for things like deepfakes of candidates. Ethical complexities include the fact that it is up to the companies to do the expensive process of filtering out misinformation from their services, due to the fact that it negatively affects so many people, as well as the fact that these services can be used maliciously very easily. This is significant because it is much easier to train an AI to filter out misinformation, So the fact that AI is so useful but difficult to make consistent leads to big problems when trying to implement AI commercially. AI misinformation also amplifies rapidly to significantly impact public opinion, democracy, and economics, as mentioned before.
So I'll be talking about our next grand challenge, which is data and privacy in AI. So AI models heavily rely on data for training to produce new results that resemble this training data. And sometimes this data contains personal information, PII, which can raise privacy concerns. So this personal data needs to be protected from malicious actors. And another problem is that AI models can also infer personal data about you based on seemingly safe input that might not reveal anything directly. Additionally, centralized storage can increase breach risks because AI models storing their data in a central location is appealing to hackers because breaching this single storage can expose the data of millions of people. So the complexities with this, there's an ethical complexity in the form of biases in data, which can perpetuate discrimination. So data that contains systemic racial and gender bias patterns can result in output that replicate this bias, which means the AI model might not be able to help everyone. Additionally, privacy protection, personal data needs to be secured so that hackers cannot take advantage of this information and cause harm to individuals. So political complexity, bipartisan support for government regulations and AI data usage means everyone wants to see some sort of regulations in this space. Additionally, a lack of transparency regulations challenges accountability. Having data transparency laws forces companies to follow safe data management practices.
Okay, next let's get into the significance of this data privacy grand challenge. So neglecting data privacy issues in AI could have drastic effects. For one, you could lose public trust in technology. Two, you could perpetuate bias and create inequality in AI solutions. And also, it could infringe on individual freedom. And then now that we know what the different data privacy issues are and what the significance is, how can we solve it? So it's really going to be a collaborative effort between three groups. First, you have policymakers, because they're the ones that are making the laws to govern this use of collected data. So they have to make sure that they're having proper regulations to stop anything wrong from happening. Also, the engineers are the ones that are creating the AI, so they have to train the models on the right data and make sure that there are privacy measures in place to stop privacy leaks from happening. And finally, AI companies, they got to make ethical use of the data. So if they do collect it, make sure that they're using it for the right reasons. So now that we've talked about all the different grand challenges, let's get into the personal experiences. So as a group, we do all believe that the pros outweigh the cons after using a plethora of different sources in our education, passions, and hobbies. Some of these include ChatGPT or different AI softwares that can create music or can create pictures online, and all of us have used different types of things like this. But we still understand the grand challenges that are here, and we have experienced them, even though we think the pros outweigh the cons. So let's talk about that. First, a few people have felt that there was a bias in trying to get past an automated resume review for job applications. Some of the older kids in the group have felt this when they were applying for jobs, that they didn't even get an interview because their resume probably got thrown out by this AI model. Then some of us have received misinformation when asking certain prompts to an AI software. This happens a lot for a lot of college students when using stuff like ChatGPT for things like math problems or just anything that might have outdated information. And finally, some of us have been the victim of data leaks, losing important confidential information or everyday personal data. Me, myself, I have had this happen to me, and this is a big problem when you can lose stuff like social security number, credit card information, and different passwords, all because you're just using some AI software and it can steal your data without you realizing it. So that's the end of our presentation on AI design's grand challenges. So we hope you learned some things, and thanks for watching. And here are our sources.